Three, two, one. Welcome. This is Africa's Talking Podcast in collaboration with Impact Masters Podcasts, brought to you by Impact Masters Media here in Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, ukipenda. Thank you so much for joining us this wonderful day. And we're blessed to have one fantastic developer who has traveled all the journey from a software engineer to a product manager. One and only Paul Mandele from Tanzania. How are you, Paul?
I'm good.
You're good?
Yep.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure hosting you here. And one of the things that I want us to talk about keenly today is how tech ecosystem has evolved since you started developing 5-7 years ago. And one of the things that I understand is that even then, when you look at the dynamics of Africa, different countries were evolving over time, trying to learn how to build scalable products. And right now, it's happening. Yeah, so at the end of the day, what actually matters in this ecosystem is what you can do with what you know. But before we go to all those details, the most important thing that I would like to know about you, Paul, you know, a man is made of history, right?
Yeah, sure.
I know you're not a young guy, so you have a
not very young,
substantive history.
Yeah.
So tell us, who is Paul? Where do you come from in this part of Tanzania? And just go as deep as you want.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so my name's Paul Mandele, and I was born in the southern part of Tanzania, in Mbeya, but I grew up in Iringa, mostly.
Yeah.
And then for the past 7-8 years, I've been living in Dar es Salaam.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm living till now.
Yeah.
Yes, so basically, I got myself in technology out of passion, as it started naturally since childhood, where I would be breaking up, say, radios.
Oh, nice.
With the interest to see what is happening behind what I hear from the radio.
Yeah.
Or I would buy a game and break it to see how it works.
And then, the Legos or which kind of game?
The brick games.
Brick game. Oh, the one that used to have some few buttons.
Yeah, so from that, then also I got an opportunity to join a tech high school. So in Tanzania, we have two types of secondary schools.
Two types of secondary school. That's interesting. Which one and which one?
Yeah, so we have the traditional ones and we have the technical ones. So the technical ones, you would study the normal subjects plus technical subjects.
Yeah.
And so I was admitted into one of the technical schools where I majored into electrical engineering and mostly focusing on electronics. Yeah, so then that was also an opportunity to learn more about technology, though it was more now into hardware and not the coding part. But then through learning that, learning the basics of technology, the logic gates, the zeros and ones, and how software communicates with the hardware, that stirred an interest to learn more about now the software or the logic that controls the hardware. And because there was not much of information and people to learn from, and then I started searching online. And that's when I got to learn about the basic scripting languages like the HTMLs. And that's where now I started into software, and I think that was around 2011. Yeah, so then started learning the basics of web programming, HTML, then CSS, then a bit of JavaScript to add interactivity. Then I got to learn that also you need to
Let me ask this: when you're learning all these scripting languages like HTML, JavaScript and whatnot, are you in the university or just still the technical high school?
So that was after high school. When I was waiting to join university, then I started learning on my own through YouTube videos.
Nice. So how many gap years do you have between high school and university?
Around 8 months.
Yeah.
Around 8 months.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Since back in the day.
Yeah.
Nice. Because actually in Kenya they just shortened that recently. You used to wait for 2 years, so you could go and do other stuff, and most people actually learn some of the skills they have through certification and other, joining colleges while they're at home, computer studies, things to do with CPA and whatnot. But I'm curious, Paul, your childhood, how was it like? Were you, beside, breaking down games and whatnot, what did people do in Mbeya? Do you do farming? How was that?
Yeah, so mostly people do farming. And also because of circumstances, I went to live in my grandfather's village. Of course, that was because my father died when I was 5, and so
sorry about that, man.
Yeah, it's fine. So
when you were 5, that's too young to lose a dad.
Yeah, so that led to the family moving to.
That is your mom, your siblings going back to the village.
Yeah, going back.
Where did you used to live before?
Was Mbeya urban.
Oh, there's Mbeya urban, there's Mbeya village. It's not too far away. How many kilometers?
Around 800 kilometers.
From Mbeya urban to Mbeya village.
The regions used to be very big, but now they've broken them down.
Oh, there is a couple.
Smaller, yes, yeah.
So there are more towns now.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So also, it's true to say that even infrastructure-wise, centers, towns, it's growing as everything else is growing across, I would say Africa, because also it's the same thing with Kenyan devolution. And I also understand in Tanzania, they're trying to figure out how can we spread the services across the country. And do you think this helps because also it comes with electricity, things to do with internet and fiber optic cable? Is this the same in Tanzania?
Yeah, it's almost the same. First, it starts with power, that is electricity. So the more villages are electrified, then other services move closer to the villages, because then if you have electricity, then maybe people start buying TVs, and then they learn about smart devices, then start buy smartphones, and then once they buy smartphones, they get connected, and so other services and expand from there.
Yeah, and it's also easy to open small business.
Yeah, sure.
In the meantime, so that actually makes a lot of sense. How, because when we're talking about this, is how can we go to the next level when it comes to development? Because I also understand, as much as in Mbeya, these developments are coming, I'm sure maybe there are a couple of other places in Tanzania where maybe it's yet to be electrified.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't have access to amenities like cyber cafes.
Yeah, sure.
And even high school, because if you want to introduce computing in high school, you need electricity and you need internet, right?
Yeah.
So this is some of, actually, would you say these are some of the things that actually would, now that we are in the digital world, actually it's not like digital world is the future, we're already there.
Yeah.
And we want everyone to be digital knowledgeable or digital conversant of what is happening.
Yeah.
So would you say these would come a long way, even if it's the company, the government policy to ensure that all the schools are electrified, we have internet across the country?
Yeah. So I think and now nowadays internet is not like a luxury. It's more like a social service, because then with banks and main services being offered digitally, then internet also becomes like a social service, the same you would classify schools, hospitals, because then for you to be able to interact, to be productive, and to get access to most of the services in short time conveniently, then you need internet. And so becomes more of a social service, and thus the more the government pushes to electrify villages, then the same should be to connect the villages on internet.
I like that. It becomes a basic need, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so Paul, the technical school that you went to, was it still in Bear Haban or
No,
was it
that
in
was in Iringa.
Oh, Iringa.
Yeah.
How far are they apart?
Around 300 kilometers.
And how do someone get to, say someone is in Bear right now and they wants to become Paul or even better than Paul, and they think maybe this is one of the ways to like access, better education through technical school. How does someone qualify to go there?
Yeah, so unfortunately, the technical schools, the way they're structured, because there are few, and so to get admission to the schools, you don't have much control about that. So all they do is within the structure. For the general schools, there are special schools. Those are the ones that the top performers go.
Okay.
So the second level of performers, most of them will be distributed into technical schools, and then others will be distributed into normal schools. So they consider mostly the performance around science subjects.
This actually sounds like the way, using my small knowledge in Kenya. So there are national schools, provincial schools, and there are district schools, or what we are calling now district, and then I don't know if it's district or sub-county.
Yeah.
Because before they were called district, now there is a county, wherever, county structure. So they're calling them sub-county, then county schools, and then national schools. And then they're like, the schools, right? And there are a few of them. So is the same structure, right? So that means you have to perform really well in primary school.
Yeah, of course. Especially with the technical schools, I think there are only about 5 of them
in the whole country.
Yeah.
And Tanzania is really big. The population is like how many people?
Around 60 million.
60. Yeah, that's You're not so popular, but the country is big in terms of size and square kilometer. So you have to really to be one school takes like how many students per year?
Around per year around 300.
300. So you have to be in top 1,500 people.
Yeah, of course.
Chief. Now I know the levels that you're talking about here. So that means you really performed really well in high school.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, were you top 10, top 5, top 1?
I think I was around top 5.
In the whole country?
Not in the whole country, but at least region-wise.
Oh, region-wise. Yeah. That's good, man. Congratulations. And it's good to have you here so that you can share your story with other guys who are maybe in the village, and they wanna dare to dream and build, because Africa will be built by everyone. We have to put all our work and all our intelligence together so that we can be able to succeed. So you joined technical school.
Yes.
Do you find other top cream de la cream kind of students?
Yeah.
Did you shine there, or how was it? How was that transition? Because I'm coming from I'm big in Bear, right?
Yeah.
And then you come with other guys from all over the country. How is that for you?
Yeah. So unfortunately, I didn't go the traditional path because I grew up with interest on tinkering stuff, and then going to a technical school to me was an opportunity now to explore, and more than shining in terms of being a top performer. So I was spending most of my time learning more about the tech stuff, and
more of hardware or software? Hardware.
Yeah. So and that way I became sort of a techie guy, because then it was around the same time when people started owning satellite dishes. Because then adventurous trying out stuff, and then I got to learn about the satellite dishes, configuring them, and so started helping teachers when they buy the satellite dishes. We go configure for them, and then they introduce you to a friend, and then during
word
weekends, during weekends we go out, go help them configure the satellite dishes. You get some money, and so that way I was spending more of my time into tech stuff. And then also I got into in technical schools also there was an initiative, especially in our school, it was called a group called Maintenance Brigade, where it's a team of students who show interest in working on technical stuff, so would be distributed according to your interests. And so in our school, all the maintenances we were doing them internally. So be it electrical installations, be it fixing electronics at school, being even building chairs that we used to sit on. We were building all of them in the school. Yeah. So I was also part of that. So that way, I was spending most of my time working on the technical stuff.
Yeah. So it was more practical for you than it was theoretical, right?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, nice. So here you're making money. And you know, young guys, when they make money, sometimes they lose focus in school. How are you able to maintain, I'm making a side hustle here where I'm making a few bucks, and then I'm also studying and I'm expected to pass. I know maybe given that you're top 1,500 in the country, there's that pressure to perform again just to go to the next level, right? So how did you manage both?
Yeah, so first of all, I was pushing myself to be to go extra mile. So I was not only waiting for a teacher to come and teach. So because I know this is what I have to cover, then I would use my spare time to cover my lessons even beyond what the teacher has taught. And that way, when I get a gig, then I can also spend time on the gig without affecting my performance. And luckily also, because some time I used to be very busy in working on the gigs. At least I got a second grade in my high school.
Now the technical school.
Yeah.
Nice. So the secret here is that to learn ahead, and when you're doing it more practical, it was easier for you because most of the things you could see them. So even by the time you go to the book, you understand what is happening.
Sure.
I think that's a very good tip for someone who is trying to perform in the Tanzanian education system and to make it really big. Do you think education helped you understand tech more better, or you could have learned it your own way?
Yeah, so I think I could have learned more on my own. All I needed is guidance, and so that was the biggest role that school helped me. So sort of creating guides like this is what you have to learn, this relates to this, instead of going, let's say, on YouTube where there's plenty of content, you don't know which one to consume and why. And so I think that's the main role that education played. But then I think schools needs to be rethought, because then they should play more of the role of guiding and not pushing students to just take what they're learning at school, but more of guiding them and for them to go learn on their own.
That makes a lot of sense, because right now there's this discussion that is going across actually the world, like, is university important? I can learn most of this stuff on my own. There are books online, there are tutorials, there are videos. And I think what you have shared is really important. Like, school gives you a structure or what you need to focus on. And basically, were you learning these on your own, or are you part of a community? How did that work?
Yeah, so during high school, I was more learning on my own. And interesting, of course, because we didn't have access to computers at school, and so the way I learned the basics of computers was during holidays. I would find some money, go to an internet cafe, just start playing with the computer, pressing any button. When I fail, I call the attendant, help me here. And that's how I got to learn. And my first email, I opened it at an internet cafe.
How old are you?
Yes.
How old are you?
I think I was around 16.
Nice. Yeah. So when did you get your first laptop, like, or your computer that you say, this one, I can just configure it, I can install things and whatnot?
Yeah, I think I got my first laptop in 2014.
2014. Nice. John, Paul.
Yeah.
now you are here, you have finished your technical school, you are second in the country. Do you get invited to a university or what happens?
Yeah, so after that, you go to advanced level, second level of high school.
Okay. Oh, this sounds like high school where you are from 5 and 6?
Yeah, so the technical school was Form 1 to Form 4. And then you have Form 5 and 6.
Is the advanced one?
Yes, the advanced one.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went to advanced secondary school where I did physics, chemistry, and mathematics. And then after that, that's when you get admitted to university.
So you, in Form 5 and 6, you just focused on 3 sciences?
Yes.
And that's it?
Yeah.
Nice. How intensive were were the teachers really up to speed with the tech?
No.
They just taught you the fundamentals?
Yeah, it was intensive, but like you have to struggle on your own. The teachers would just give you a bit of guidance, but the most part of it, you have to really push yourself.
Do you think education system, as you said earlier, of course you said, needs to be revised so that it's more like, it gives you the more practical aspect of learning rather than theoretical, because there's like 90% of theory and then 10% of, even the way it is tested, it's tested more on theory than practical. So maybe that's something needs to be revised.
Yeah, sure.
And what else?
So that's first thing. The second thing is the mode of teaching. So instead of it being one directional where a teacher is the one sharing knowledge, then it should be more interactive, like more of conversations, more of discussions, more of two-sided discoveries. So if a student would go and learn about something new, they come share, even challenge the teachers. I think that way, that's how learning happens, because it becomes natural than just pushing yourself to take whatever the teacher is sharing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually, because now it becomes even more fun. People are more curious. Thanks for sharing that, Paul. You joined which university now after completing your high school? Did you perform really well in the advanced high school?
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't perform very well.
Why?
That's because I was spending most of my time
making money.
And making money.
Yeah.
And so I didn't do well. So that forced me to, instead of going to a bachelor's, that forced me to do a diploma before that. And so I got admitted into one of the colleges in Iringa. It's called RUA, where I did a diploma in computer sciences. But because that was in me, that culture of wanting to do practical things, even when I was there, I remember that was my first time to start a community where then, because I felt like what we were learning was more theoretical, I started a community where...
Which community was this?
We didn't have a clear name.
Oh, but you could meet.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we were doing basically is on weekends, we would gather together and then at some point call experts, let's say a seasoned engineer in a telecom company.
People who are in the industry.
Yes,
okay.
They would come, share the experiences, would also structure some short courses around areas that people feel they need to learn more. And so that way I was still again balancing what I learned at college and the
practical part of it.
Yeah. So and we saw value in that, because then we saw people getting jobs just because of the practical aspect that they got from the community.
Yes.
And even it reached a point where the lecturers and professors would tell people, like, if you want to learn more about this, you go attend the community events organized by these guys. And that way we saw that it was an impactful thing, because even the university got to see the difference from what we're doing.
Even performance actually improved, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so it's good you're talking about this. I'm so big on community. I've been doing them for the last 12 years, since I was second year. And I've seen it change the dynamics in the tech ecosystem. And even the reason why we're here in Tanzania majorly is to actually support that movement where people can have a community, can gather maybe over the weekend or in the evenings and maybe learn one or two things. And also industry or startups or companies should be able to support these, because at the end of the day, there's this notion of, there are not enough good engineers.
Yeah,
and the only way because tech changes, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, tech changes very fast. Like even as you're talking here, maybe there's a new language that is being released somewhere.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
And it can take over everything, whereby now what you learned might become very fast, really fast, obsolete. And the only way for a tech person to catch up, unlike medicine or law or anything else that exists out there, is to gather and see what has been happening. You share what you have been tinkering with, I share what I've been tinkering with, and then if I have questions, then my curiosity is being, there's an appetite to like go and check out what is happening in the industry. And also building project through hackathons.
Yeah, sure.
So I don't know, how is the tech ecosystem, especially across now that you're talking, there was a community in Iringa. Now you're in Dar, right?
Yeah.
So is that still going on in Iringa?
Yeah, unfortunately, the organizers went apart. So after I came to Dar es Salaam, and few friends went to other colleges.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
No worries, man. Yeah.
And then it was hard to maintain the community because we are the ones who were the vision bearers, and so others left it go.
Yeah.
But because it was a passion, even after coming to Dar es Salaam, I joined a tech hub where then I was part of the community. And then in the
Which tech hub was this?
Was Buni Hub.
Oh, Buni Hub. Yeah. So Buni Hub is like the home. Guys, if you don't know Swahili, Buni means innovation, right? It's like innovation hub.
Yeah.
So Buni is a home of innovation across Tanzania.
Yeah.
And they have offices only in Dar.
Yeah, they have offices only in Dar, though now they're planning to
expand.
To expand. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great, because also the capital city it's already moved, right?
Yeah, it's
the parliament is no longer in Dar es Salaam.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and actually Tanzania is wide, like it's so big.
Yeah,
when you think to go from one part of Tanzania to the other, it's kind of something that you might not really even think about, because it's too far from one end to the other.
Of course.
So you joined Buni Hub, and did you find other developers maybe across the country?
Yeah, so I joined Buni Hub, then there I met the developers who have come from other parts of the country, and then of course most of them would be university students around the time, or even some would come on holidays who are studying abroad. So they have also friends studying abroad who come for holidays, and then we get to meet and integrate as part of the community.
Yeah. And that is still going on, or?
Yeah, it's still going on, though the focus on community is
shaky.
It's a bit shaky, yeah.
Yeah. Running communities is kind of interesting, because I don't know if it's the same case here, but what I've seen across the spectrum is companies need to play a big role, because most communities actually they don't make money, right?
Yeah, of course.
And when people meet, maybe they need resources. There's some guys who are really talented and skilled. Maybe they need laptops, or maybe books. I don't know, or maybe subscription to one of these course on I don't know, Udacity or Pluralsight, or any other resource that is needed.
Yeah, of course.
Also, maybe snacks, things to do with swag. So in Tanzania, beside Buni providing maybe the space, do tech companies actually support tech events?
Not really. Yeah, because even with the first community that I just shared back that we started back in Iringa, the community was driven by just individuals, members of the community.
So you spend your own side hustle money to
so
support it.
So when we need something, we'll just let it known to the community, and then people contribute.
Yeah.
Even when we need, let's say we have a session and we have to open up, let's say, a computer to go through some parts for people to understand how things work, then we would find someone with a computer, he brings it, and then we work on it.
Yeah. So it took, and that's why even when the leaders dispersed and went to do different things in different cities, it just died. And but it happens also not only here, but I've heard a couple of those kind of interesting stories. And these are message. This is the first time I'm giving this message. Okay. The companies in different markets. I think every time they're thinking about budgets, especially if they depend on tech in one or the other, they should be able to see how they can support the tech specifically, because everything right now, they say software is eating the world.
Yeah, of course.
It is doing that literally, because there is no simple business or no simple engagement that actually tech has not impacted in a good way. So it's about time, I think, companies needed to consider this really keenly, because it's evident that the education will not catch up. That's number one. Number two is that we have greatest talents in the community, and they are dispersed across the country. So it's not only concentrated in Dar, but I know good developers from Arusha, good developers from Morogoro, and across Tanzania in general. And this actually happens in different countries in Africa. Two, the government needs to come up with a clear policy on how they are supporting community, because most of the lessons are learned through community, and it's a continuous learning. The same way they support medics movement or medics organization or laborers work, they need to think this clear, because that actually ensures that the country is benefiting from these knowledge and skills that these young people are coming up with. And you never know, maybe these were the next rocket or the next EV or the next technology that will solve how government delivers its service will come through. Last but not least, if your community out there, don't give up. Sometimes it's really hard to run a community. You might end up spending your own resources, but it's really worthwhile. I can tell you this because for a long time I've seen it transform people who otherwise didn't have opportunities across Africa. And right now they are really great guys who are building in the solution that we are using globally every day. So it's really, really worth it. And I celebrate you as Michael Kemadi. So Paul, that's a message I wanted to deliver. Different people will be listening to us and those who are listening to us online. Now, here in Dar, you have Buni Hub, you have the community. What was your biggest challenge to keep it going?
So part of the challenge was, again, getting support from other stakeholders. For example, so after I joined Buni and we saw the need to meet regularly as developers. And before that, Google had initially started the Google Developers Community. But it was shaky. So I took a role to volunteer and revive the Google Developers Community. But again, the challenge was that if Google doesn't provide any support, then no one else was providing support.
Yes.
And so we had to wait for support only from Google, while there are other companies that depend on tech. But interesting, whenever they need developers, you receive calls and emails. I'm looking for this kind of developer.
Yes,
if
they're good at that. They see you as a recruiter, but they don't see the work that, it's easier if you have been supporting us maybe either with space or swag or, snacks or even money to buy our domain or renew it, or even pay for the, website that people use to register for the events and keep that community together. It would be easier to tell me, okay, please send this post out to the guys or follow up with a good developer that you know, as opposed from coming from thin air because you just came to an event or there's this community that exists. And it's not their mistake. I think they have this notion where they think that if they employ one or two guys from the community, it's like they have helped the community. But the community doesn't work like that.
Yeah, of course.
The community actually, the way it works is for you to invest in the pipeline, not to hire the best guys. And once you are done, you see that community is useless until next 3 years when the community has trained another 5 guys.
Of course.
So it's better that you can hire those 5 guys, but also invest in that pipeline that created those 5 guys, so that next time you need another 5 guys, they're available for you. So I think also maybe there's education that is needed to go around in terms of how community works.
Yeah, of course. And I think Kenya is now in good position to learn that, especially now with the fact that now with the with the coming of the giants, the Googles, Microsoft, Amazon, suddenly the giants have taken most of the good developers, and then the local companies, then if they were part of the communities, then it's easier for them now to know who next to take and to groom the next talent for them. But if they're not part of the community, then this time around, then they have no strategy, because then they have to start from zero on how they fix or they fit the gap left by the developers who have gone to the tech giants.
Yes. So yeah, absolutely, and I can attest to this. They're struggling to get talent because they have hired most of the guys. They have they have poached the good developers from other companies or startup. But this is not only for the giants, also for the guys who are trying to build solutions and who their guys have been poached, because people are learning these lessons the hard way. When you don't have more people to recruit, that's when you realize, how do we have these good guys? So they start blaming the schools, saying that they're not like producing good graduates and whatnot. But I think they need to understand that actually community plays a very key role in ensuring the ecosystem is stable. The ecosystem is by the time you graduate, you are really well, endowed with skills. Your experience. You have worked in a couple of projects. Maybe your portfolio on GitHub is good and whatnot. But that aside, I think they are listening and they can do something about it, because for us, Africa's Talking, among other companies that are here for you this month, actually this Thursday, because you have a hackathon and a workshop on Thursday for developers listening out there. You'll be at Boon Hub from morning to evening, doing exactly what you're talking about. And also the plan in future is to have now what we're talking about, reactivate the community. And we are willing to go all the way to ensure at least with the smallest way we can support, we always support. So Paul, you have used the Africa's Talking solutions extensively.
I've used them, but not extensively. I think I've used it for one product.
Which product did you use?
We were building a solution for tracing agro inputs across the value chain.
Oh, right now?
No, that was around 3 years back.
Okay.
Yeah, so we needed a shortcut and SMS gateway, two-way SMS gateway, because then our solution was to empower farmers to verify the genuineness of agro inputs before they utilize them, because that's one of the challenges that they're struggling with. The market is flooded with counterfeits, but they don't have a way to validate which one is counterfeit and which one is not.
Yeah.
And so we built a solution where all the certified agro inputs would be attached with the stickers with a scratch card. And so once a farmer buy a packet, be it seeds or insecticides or pesticides in general, then they'll have to scratch the scratch card to reveal a hidden code, and then they send that code via a special number.
Yeah.
Then they get feedback whether
that is USSD.
Yes. So they get feedback. No, it's a traditional SMS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
two-way SMS.
Yeah, two-way SMS.
Okay.
Yeah. So they send that code that is revealed after scratching the hidden code. And then they get feedback on the details of the product, and if it's not genuine, then they get feedback
that doesn't exist in the database.
Yes.
Sounds actually it's a simple solution, but it goes a long way to ensure that the farmers are getting the right, farm inputs.
Yeah.
And does the solution still exist?
Yeah. So the solution still exists. Though now it's being championed by the government through the National Telecommunication Company. So after we built it, and because agriculture is one of the controlled industries, and because we're dealing with data, then because of the policies, we had to partner with a government institution.
Yeah.
So that way we partnered with a national telecommunication company.
Yeah.
And the solution is still active under a telecommunication company.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting because I see how that could impact, Tanzania and wherever they are across the country.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so that's the only solution that interacted with.
Yeah, that's the. I think the other time we're trying to build a data collection and information tool around sexual and reproductive health, where we needed to collect data and also we needed to push information to the community. So it was a mix of USSD and SMS. So that was the other time when I used Africa's Talking Solutions.
Oh, nice. Okay. So what was this solving, the reproduction solution?
Yeah, so first was to get details and data around early pregnancies, sexual transmitted diseases. So getting the data through interacting with young people, where if they have questions or they have issues, they would send and get advice and feedback, and also getting direction in terms of where they need to go, if they need to be treated or to get medications. So that way we could both collect data and also inform the community around sexual reproductive health.
Oh, nice. So still exists? The solution still exists? Or was it
unfortunately,
period time?
It was part of a UN project, but now it's not active.
Oh, it was commissioned just to get that data and...
The challenge was to get a sustainable model that does not depend on grants. And so we had to pivot to other things and not that.
And it's so unfortunate because these things still happen and there's no one who has proper data to ensure that even the government itself, when it's making its policy or taking decisions, they're able to, rely on data as opposed to hearsay or someone doesn't like something happening and then it's not informed. But nevertheless, that sounds like a good solution that you built. Did you build this while in the community or did you build this after, you got a job and then you transitioned to the industry?
It was after I transitioned to the industry, but I was still part of the community. And around that time, I was leading the Google developers community. So even most of the activities I would do with colleagues who are also part of the community.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So it could be one way of generating some revenue for the community and what you are doing day to day. Sure. Nice. So do you think companies should come with a project specifically targeted to be done by the community, at least even to raise funds if they don't want to maybe sponsor? Like what I think, I don't know if GitHub has been really big proponent of communities until they were acquired by Microsoft. Yeah, and Microsoft, if you're listening to me, please, community is what built GitHub, not the other way around. Yeah. And I don't know, GitHub actually totally understood this. And I'm saying this from my own interaction with GitHub. So I like what they're coming up with. There's another event we have in Nairobi. They're launching GitHub sponsors, which actually, as an open source developer, you get paid to maintain this might change the dynamics, but still, you cannot ignore the community as it's formative and how it works. So you need to find a way to streamline that process, and not only GitHub, because you see one company can do so much. All the companies that are in tech, it's about time that we took this as a serious, engagement, to ensure that the ecosystem grows. That said, now, how did you transition now from the community? Because now you're doing projects, right?
Yes.
You're more experienced in coding. You used to code using which languages?
Yeah, so most of the time I used to code PHP.
Yeah. Scripting language.
Yeah. And then, I think I'm a fan of scripting languages because even I tried to learn Java for Android. I decided to quit and then went and focused on only web technologies, and then later I started doing Python, most focusing on data.
Yeah, which is How long did you do that?
Yeah, so I think for about 4 years, I was doing more PHP and web-based languages, JavaScript, and so. And then I started being interested on crunching numbers, and so I had to start learning Python. And also, fortunately, I got an opportunity to join a postgraduate study, which was a more practical course around industrial IoT.
Which year was this? Or you still going?
It was
on with it?
2018.
2018, okay.
Yeah, so I joined a course which was about industrial IoT, which is a blend of data science, machine learning, and IoT at an industrial level.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So you transition now from that to now full-time job, or?
Yeah, so after that, I started just consulting around that area. And that was because also prior to that, I was doing coding, but also I was doing innovation consulting. Yeah, so it was a blend of coding
Both,
and consulting.
And if it's innovation consulting and then it translates to be a project, then you there is a easier transition because you understand the whole process.
Yeah. So so the way I got into product management, on the innovation consulting, I was interacting very much with startups and stakeholders in the innovation ecosystem. And also interacting with startups, I could also work with them on their technical solutions and be it advising them, helping them when they struggle, and then also with data science knowledge. Then I could have the aspect of data and the business side, a bit of the tech solutions, and so it was easier for me to blend all the experiences and backgrounds around problem solving to technical know-how of building products now into one thing. Now product management, managing the overall scope of the product
end to end. Yeah. So let me ask you this, Paul. What's the importance of the importance of innovation in coding?
Yes. So the importance of innovation is because first, technology or code more of a tool. So it's like you want to farm, and the end result is the yield. But then you need a hoe or a tractor. So for the hoe or for the tractor to be valuable, it needs to be doing something that leads to the expected yield.
Yes.
The same for technology and code. They are just tools and enablers helping to build a solution, which a solution or a product is basically a packaging of value. So let's say if to me all I want is to be able to buy, let's say, a phone while I'm seated here, then the technology behind the e-commerce and logistics to deliver, it's just an enabler. The value is me, the convenience that I get on buying
that's
the
what
phone.
you buy.
Yes.
Or that's what you actually pay for.
Yeah. And so that way, innovation because helps you now to understand the people you want to serve, what they're struggling with, how the best way to package that solution. Then it adds value to the technology because technology itself is just a tool, and if a tool doesn't have a reason to be used, then it doesn't make sense.
So it's the same way of saying, like, if you can write code but you can't solve problem, it's really no here, no there.
Yes, sure.
So how do you make sure that you are up to speed with how to solve problems or how to break down problems, small pieces that are solvable, according to your experience?
Yeah, so first it starts with why are you even coding or whatever you're coding? Because having the sense of why will drive you to why it's important for you to do that. Who are you affecting with what you're doing? What's the end result, or what's the value that you'll offer with what you're doing? And that also will guide you in terms of now how or the best way to package that in terms of code, even choosing a stack. it should be driven by the problem at hand and who you're serving and the experience you want to deliver, and not just merely a thing of interest that because I like Python, then I just want to code in Python.
Yeah.
It should be driven by why I'm doing what I do, and if that thing requires Python, then that should be the reason to do Python.
That makes a lot of sense. And there's another thing that has been going on, and especially with engineers. So you find someone is just maybe gets into the job as entry engineer or junior engineer, but they can't understand how do they grow to be product managers. How is that process?
Yeah, so the first process,
or even do they need to grow? Because there are guys who want to just write code, solve problems, and as long as maybe they are paid well or the package is well or they are solving problems, they don't want to stop coding. There are people who I've met who are just, I don't want anything else. I just want to code, that's it.
No, yeah, it's not bad to focus on one thing, but also it's good to grow, and also considering the changes even with our bodies and with time, where let's say you as you get old, you can't stay overnights anymore, then you need to be doing something else, and it's good to do something that is related to whatever you've been doing for the past years, and that way you need to sort of have a career path. And in tech, product management is one of the growth path from being a developer to now managing the scope of the products, which gets to the level even where all you have to do is to think and then direct others to do.
Yeah. So is it possible to graduate and just be a product manager?
It's possible, but it requires dedication, and it requires learning a lot, because being a product manager, you need to have all aspects of the product, technical side of it, the business side, problem space, and also it's advised or that at least you work on a product that is the domain that you are experienced with. So let's say if you're building a health tech without prior knowledge or even experience in health sector, then it's hard for you to even build a valuable product around health. And so yes, while you can just graduate and become a product manager, books and the how to do it, but also there's an aspect of experience and understanding, and even coming across such kind of problems where you have a track record of solving such kind of problems, then it makes it easier to build products.
It becomes more realistic,
of course,
because you can see end to end, and you have also experienced the same. So let's say Paul, there are guys who believe that once a coder, you should always code, right? What did you say about that? What did you? Because also, it should be careful. As much as computing is an art, as much as it is a science, because the hard part of it is what helps you create solutions. If people take it like the way football is or athlete, and by 35, no, I'm too old to code. We may never have growth in the ecosystem such that we build even solution for the mature people or older people. Because even when you see the tech trend right now, some of the solutions actually, you find that they don't evolve. And then they die. We know so many social applications that actually just died with time, because so they maybe, I don't know if that is the reason, but people who use them outgrew them, right? And even you see the movement with so many other social networks that's out there, and that's just one case. So how do we ensure that as much as there is that career path, how do we sustain good engineers to be just good engineers and still build solutions that people can relate with across their lifetime?
Okay, yeah. So I'll put it this way. So to me, building a good product, it's an ecosystem effort. So think of it this way. So you may be a good engineer, and you've seen a very serious problem in the community, you want to solve with your engineering know-how, and then the fact that politician out there or leader on the top doesn't have a clue of what you're doing, they may end up shutting you down.
True.
Which is the which we've seen some cases around that where let's say startup is building a very good product, let's say around crypto, and the fact that people who have to decide don't know about what you're doing, they just end up saying that you're violating our rules and regulations,
and the
shut
law
down. So what I'm saying is while it's good to focus and be good at what you do, there should be a transition and growth, because then we need someone who have been a junior developer, have gone to be a senior developer, have gone to be a product manager, or have gone even to be a CEO. Some days we need them to be either ministers, go make decisions for us, because then they'll be making decisions on things that they know and they've been through that. They know what they are regulating, even if they are creating regulations.
Yeah.
Because if we say we just focus, then we just want to be developers, don't grow, and we don't produce people who go into other levels of decision making, then even our efforts will be hard to bring the desired value or the desired impact, because there are levels where we need someone else to decide for us, and so we need people to grow and reach those levels.
So are you saying engineers should run for office? Or should consider running for office?
Not necessarily, but what I'm trying to say is that we need people who know and have experience of the engineering aspect in all levels of work, whether in private entities, even in the government.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes sense that way, and I think that brings me back to something else I'm trying to achieve using, these podcasts. Mindset, because also mindset determines what we think is the priority. So our mindset has been set in a way that we think the only way you can enact change is when you're in power or when you're in politics and whatnot. And I'm not watering down that being in politics or being in leadership positions like executive and whatnot determines a lot of things. But we have seen people who have changed the status quo just by building a solution that disrupts the world at whatever age. Actually, even I don't think anyone would even consider them twice if they ran for office. But through the solution, they are so powerful in a way that the whole world has changed the way it thinks about its youth, its economy. Right now, people are making billions in TikTok.
Yeah, sure.
Who would have thought that? There's a 22 guy called Kwame from Ghana, but he lives in Italy. Is one of the most followed person on TikTok. He lost his job during Corona, and I'm sure maybe if he had applied, I don't know, if he applied, no one would have considered him. And imagine, doesn't say anything, he doesn't do anything, he just communicate without saying anything. So when we think about those dynamics, and that's the beauty of tech actually. As tech guys, guys who are in the ecosystem, we should be able to know that it's not only, because right now I know guys who are paid more than the president as you speak, and they're living here in Africa. But before that, before tech, people could only even dream of being paid half of what these leaders are paid through running for office, being corrupt, or doing some dirty deals, and all that kind of stuff that actually destroys the planet Earth. And this is not only in Africa, but across the spectrum. So I think it's about time that we started looking at these problems in a different way. The way for me I look at them is that our biggest problem is the poverty and corruption.
Yes.
And one is like they feed into each other. And the only way to escape these two is to ensure that we are financially stable, we are socially stable, and we are economically stable. And this cannot only be defined by money. It also is defined by the solution that we build for kings, for our brothers and sisters to use, like what you started with agri-tech. That doesn't mean that you have to know how tech works, but if you use that, can save you a lot of problems by using the wrong inputs. So it can improve the yields, improve food security, avoid people dying because of poisoning, and whatnot. So when you think about it, it's not, you didn't have to be, even maybe no one knows you, whoever used that solution, right? But you're able to change a lot of people's life. Now the government adopted it. So you find that good tech starts with the innovators and then the leaders who ignore you and try to shut you down. When they see the value, they take it and run with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. And basically, a good way to bring a change is to show example and not tell people to change. And that's why it makes sense for startups or techies and the innovators to leading the change, because if getting access to healthcare is a problem and you come with a solution, doesn't matter who you are, and you don't need to convince a politician that you're solving a problem. Because if they see that value and people see that impact, even the people that you're helping will convince even the government that they feel that's something that they need. So I think the best way to do it is not to wait for other people to do it. And while I spoke about having people in different levels of decision making, that's just to simplify, but we should be focusing on actually creating the value that is needed in our communities, because that way will influence even the decision making.
Yeah. So absolutely, and it takes, and I would challenge you again to invest back in the community. Try even to get more, of your colleagues, because also I've met guys who have no idea what community is all about. So the thing is, there are guys who just want to hang out, waste some time, eat some pizza and drinks. No, it goes beyond that. It starts like that, but it goes beyond that. And I've seen it firsthand. And even companies, I'll still repeat this, companies should consider giving enough time for people who want to involve themselves in the community. May they be engineers or executive. They should find time to go and share their knowledge, because you might assume people know what you know and make the same mistake you made, but it doesn't have to be like that. You can learn from each other, and I'm a champion of apprenticeship as opposed to mentorship, whereby you see by doing and do by seeing. So, that's something I would like us to do, and let me know if that's something possible we can do even beyond this. So, Paul, as we conclude this, what's next for Paul after, now he's a product manager? Do you plan to have another startup, invest in startup?
Yeah, so because I'm passionate about solving problems, so I'm still considering startup, building products, but also in the long term, so considering investing in other startups, because also as we are struggling and blaming each other on why people are not investing in Africa, it's people who know the value and who have been through such kind of problems who see the need to even invest. So if you get more people who have experienced the environment that we are in, who have been through the same challenges, they are the ones to be investing in. So because I've been through this, I think I'll be in better position to even invest into startups as I grow up.
Yes. Nice. So we're looking forward to that. And every time I come to Tanzania, we should be able to be having these so that we see how can we, because also another thing that I feel like we should, even champion to eradicate. For me, I work with Africa like there is no boundaries. But when I get to the airport or check, that's when I'm reminded, bro, in a different, I'm like, no, it's not supposed to be like that. But I understand sometimes changing mindset takes some time. And it's good that East African community is coming together, that is reasoning things up. Soon we'll be in Uganda, we'll be in Rwanda, maybe DRC, sometime Burundi, South Sudan. Because I strongly believe, and this is true actually, that innovation, talent, and skill is evenly distributed across the continent. So it doesn't mean Nairobi is the most innovative place where you'll get the best developers, though that's the case because you have been doing this for the last maybe 12 years. But even if we start right now and do it intensely and consistently in Dar es Salaam, in the next 10 years, Tanzania will also produce the best developers across the world. And that applies to different other cities across the world. So encourage whoever is listening as we part short. No, there's something else I wanted to ask you, Paul. So how do you see tech ecosystem here?
So I can see growth.
Yeah.
In terms of exposure to what is possible, because you can be good at what you do, but without being open-minded to see the possibilities and also that limits. So at least now I can see the exposure. We've seen other people in parts of Africa grown. Now we've seen even growth of Kenya, Egypt, Nigeria, South Africa ecosystems. I can see the ecosystem also pushing to grow more. Now we've seen investments, few exits, and the most part that needs more investment now is on the talent pipeline. Because one of the reasons even why the ecosystem is not growing fast enough is because we don't have enough talent to champion that growth.
True. And I think you can put it better than this. So without further ado, I would like to invite you for our Tanzania workshop, hackathon. Come learn with the expert in the ecosystem. Also learn about, if you want me to share about community, I can share it. I can have a session there sharing about how to build a sustainable community. Also, you're looking up to having community leaders from that hackathon. So if you're interested, this is about time. We'll support with the exclusive knowledge, resources, and ensure that you are growing your community to the greater heights. Something else you should be looking to learn on Thursday, on 22nd. That is Thursday. Is it 22nd or 23rd? 22nd actually.
22nd is Thursday.
Yeah, 22nd. At Buni Hub, Science Building, right? It's still there, right?
Yep.
I've ever done another workshop there back, I think, in 2017 or 2018 about Ruby. So,
I remember.
You were there?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So that's something else you would like to start here with the Africa Ruby community. It has grown actually. So also come learn about team and collaboration tools. That is Atlassian tools. They would also want to have a community here. And Africa Stalking, one and only. Learn about communication tools or solution like USSD, SMS, airtime, data bundle, etc. And also Ilarian, which is a data customer data framework. So come and see how you can use these opportunities to grow your skills and talent, and also make a living out of it if you want. But by and large, build the pipeline in the ecosystem of technologists and developers and software engineers. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure hosting this with Paul Mandele. You know, I'm tempted to say Paul Mandela. That's why I'm confirming, because someone's name is very important. So thank you so much, Paul Mandela. And it's been a pleasure having you here at Impact Masters Podcast and Africa Stalking Podcast, ensuring that we are empowering developers across Africa and sharing knowledge through different channels. So until next time, this is your host, Michael Kemadi, and MK if you want.